Hello everyone and welcome back to another edition of Jam Sports. We're your hosts, Max Danielsen.
And I'm Jared Hedges.
Jared, it's been a bit since we've gone into the pro sports world, so I think it's time to let the viewers know what's been going on in the pro sports world during the summer and what's going on as of now. But before we jump into that, of course, we have to mention our awesome sponsor of Monkey Sports. So Jared, tell them a little bit about what Monkey Sports is all about.
Monkey Sports, you can go visit them. They're in Allen. I know it's a trip out there. But if you're the person that's into hockey or baseball or lacrosse, they literally have everything you could possibly think of if you need in those sports.
We can guarantee that you will find whatever you need. If you're looking for a specific bat or a hockey stick or a lacrosse stick or a specific type of gear, they will have it. And of course, they are off 75 and down Bethany Drive. So make sure to tell them that we sent you here at Jam Sports when you go and visit them. But of course, Jared, I think it's time to jump into the baseball side of news with the MLB. Now, this season has been a pretty interesting season. We've seen a lot of teams come out of nowhere and have phenomenal seasons, like the Oakland Athletics and the Atlanta Braves. But mainly, one of the best has been the Boston Red Sox. So, do you just kind of want to give them a recap of what they've done so far this season?
Well, starting off with Boston, their season really started when they signed J.D. Martinez for 8 years, $151 million. And it's money well spent, as he has the potential. He probably will be the MVP, and he has the potential of winning the Triple Crown, which, if you don't know what a Triple Crown is, you have to be a hitter to do this. And you have to lead, whether you're in the National League or American League, you have to lead that league in home runs, batting average, and RBIs. And, they've been led in pitching. Chris Sale's had a phenomenal year, even though he's hurt right now. Rick Porcello's done great. David Price has came out of nowhere. But you also have probably the guy that will win second in MVP voting, is you have Mookie Betts, who missed about a month of time due to injury.
Now you go on to the rookies of the league, the new faces of the league, and then you look and you see Juan Soto of the Washington Nationals and Ronald Acuna Jr. of the Atlanta Braves just tearing it up for the National League Rookie of the Year, just standings and all that. Who do you think is going to win this? We've seen Ronald Acuna Jr. He had seven or eight games where he had consecutive home runs, and as well 4 games where he had leadoff home runs. And then you have Juan Soto, who's just been leading, taking the Washington Nationals on his back. Of course, we've seen Bryce Harper this year not having the best of seasons. But who do you think is going to win that National League Rookie of the Year?
I think it's going to be Ronald Acuna, partly because the Braves are a good team. But they weren't supposed to be as good as they are this year. It's supposed to be next year that they're supposed to be so good.
You look at their farm system, they have, if not one of the best systems, of course, the Padres having the number 1 system, but they are definitely a number 2 or number 3 team.
But we cannot forget about the National League MVP with local boy from Irving, Trevor Story, the shortstop for the Colorado Rockies, who has had the best season that any shortstop in MLB history has ever had, being the first one to have 40 doubles, 30 home runs, and 25 stolen bases. And a couple weeks ago, he had a 3 home run game. I know we can sit there and say, oh, Colorado's easy to hit home runs given the air. But he hit 3 home runs. He hit one 505 feet, which is really far. And then he also hit one 471 feet as he was falling to the ground. And moving on to the NFL, there's a huge trade a couple weeks ago involving the Raiders and the Bears, as the Raiders shipped Khalil Mack, their linebacker, to the Chicago Bears for 2 first-round picks and I believe a second-round pick.
Now, the reason that this is really, really strange is because Khalil Mack is a once-in-a-generation type player, as of course we saw that with the Packers-Bears game, and then of course Raiders didn't want to pay him, right, because they of course spent all their money on their quarterback Derek Carr. So when he went to the Bears, that just made the NFC North an even stronger division. Now, going on to the Cleveland Browns, of course, this has been their best start since 2004, and they ended with a tie, not a win, against Pittsburgh by the score of 21-21. Now, Jared, any comments on that game?
Well, Cleveland had a great chance of winning. They had a great position for the field goal. It was raining. It was a very poor conditions, but the field goal got blocked by J.J. Watt's brother, T.J. Watt.
Now, and then as well, Pittsburgh had multiple opportunities to capitalize on those field goals, but I believe they missed 3 field goals in a row. And, just being that is their best start since 2004, it's a little bit embarrassing. What quarterback are they on right now? Like 22 or something like that?
Yeah, and then the best game, it had to have been the best game of the week.
No doubt.
is, Aaron Rodgers, the Green Bay Packers versus the Chicago Bears. Now, the Packers didn't get off to a great start. The Bears were out. I think it was 16-0 or 20-0.
20-0 at the start of the fourth quarter.
Aaron Rodgers ended up getting sacked. I can't remember who the guy's name was, and he got injured. It looked like the two knees collided, and therefore Rodgers had to get carted off.
Now, what does Stephen A. Smith, one of the ESPN broadcasters, say about Aaron Rodgers?
He's a bad man.
And what did he do in the fourth quarter, Jared?
Well, to begin the second half, they had to have injected him with something into his knee because
he acted like his post-game conference.
He acted like it was nothing, and he did his classic Rodgers thing. Came back and scored. In the fourth quarter, they scored 21 unanswered points.
So, just an amazing game all around. That kind of just shows where Aaron Rodgers is as being one of the best in the NFL. Now, going on, of course, to the local Dallas Cowboys, they lost to the Carolina Panthers by the score of 16-8. Not their strongest game overall, but of course you're also having to play the Panthers, who overall have a pretty decent team. Now, the real problem right now in week one, of course, as well, especially for us being fantasy football owners, and me being an owner of this guy, drafting him second overall, is Le'Veon Bell. I don't know why I drafted him second overall, but I did, and he has not reported at all to the Pittsburgh Steelers since the offseason. So, Jared, do you want to kind of go on a little bit on why he hasn't reported or why he possibly isn't?
It's kind of the same reason that Khalil Mack was threatening to hold out. Now, Le'Veon Bell, he believes he should be paid, but the thing with Le'Veon is he's a pass-catching running back, and he's a running back, so he wants to get paid. I think he wants like $20-25 million a year, which some teams just can't do that with the salary cap. And, by him holding out each game, he forfeits $814,000 a game.
It's kind of interesting to hear that and think, well, why wouldn't you play that? That would be, if we were in his shoes, we're going to take that money right away. But, of course, being almost, millionaires, billionaires, by possibly, they can do that. That's pocket change to them.
And it's this past summer, we had the 2018 World Cup won by France. Great tournament all around.
What about Croatia coming out of nowhere, having one of the best runs that we've ever seen, and then, of course, Harry Kane leading England. I really wish England would have won, especially with the whole Harry Kane story. And he's just, I guess, have become one of the premier soccer players in all of the world.
He really has. Just seeing what he did, England wasn't supposed to go as far as they did.
Nor was Croatia.
Yeah, and then France. Now, there is a player that everybody needs to be aware of. His name is Kylian Mbappe. He is 19 years old. He's going to be the next, how everybody says, Ronaldo Messi. Well, it's now going to be Mbappe. Mbappe is the next guy.
And Jared, I think this is going to recap another edition of Jam Sports. As, of course, we thank you from myself, Max Danielsen.
And Jared Hedges.
As we wish you, as always, a pleasant good morning, a good afternoon, or a good evening to you, wherever or whenever you may be watching. Thank you.